We shall rule this day.
All right. This is Rocco Rants, the new podcast by me, Mike Rocco. Every week I'm going to talk about stuff that's on my mind and follow it up with some good music. Anyway, it's been a pretty long week. My wife decided to surprise me on my birthday and get me a wedding band tattoo. Yeah, it's really cool and classy looking, right? It's like this little black band on my finger, but it's not really healing right. And the guy did a pretty good job, and yet when it healed, it started becoming a little uneven. The top line is a little crooked. So, of course, I've been all kinds of crazy about this and neurotic. And now, most people around my age usually stress out about things like, the board meeting coming up and trying to score that big account for their firm. Or, like some mother gets up and has to take her kid to the emergency room at 3 a.m. because he's got an ear infection, right? I mean, that's normal stuff, right? But in the Rocco house, a little wedding band tattoo that's somewhat uneven will absolutely ruin the fucking month, you know? And this is what goes on all the time with a different theme. In the summer, we bought a used car and it turned out to be a catastrophe from day one. We trusted the person, and then like the moment I turned the key in the ignition when I got home, the check engine light went on, and it just spiraled downward from there. And of course, there's always an obscure problem with me. I don't just get a flu or like a cold or something. It's either a really obscure crooked wedding tattoo on my finger, or it's the car has a very strange problem that no mechanic can figure out, or I'll have some medical thing like, I'll get a food allergy that gives me a migraine, so I can't eat like half the menu at Taco Bell or something. Anyway, things weren't always this way for me. It wasn't too long ago where I was really into martial arts and I got a black belt in Goshin Jiu Jitsu. I was kickboxing during college. I was in, rock bands and went out with my friends and did all the things you're supposed to do. But then you get to a certain point where I think when I hit 30, all of a sudden it dawned on me, holy shit, my 20s are gone. That's it. They're over. They'll never come back. That decade is just gone, and I never even noticed. And then when you hit 30, it's like you look ahead and you go, oh, wait, I'm only 10 years away from 40. Oh boy. Okay, so the moment this happened, and I remember having a surprise birthday party. I'm 36 now, and I had a surprise 30th. And my wife threw it for me, and it was very nice. And I remember at one point, the younger kids or whatever that were there were playing musical chairs. And I was the guy with the mic running this thing. And I remember in that moment thinking, what am I doing? Like, I'm not old enough yet for this. Like, I need to be out in metal bands, or my wife and I should be traveling the world. And what do we? And yeah, my wife and I have a lot of fun together. And everybody who knows us knows we're madly in love still. We make great music together. We do movies together, books. We held off having kids because we felt like there was so much more we needed to get done first. There was a time, I don't know, maybe I'm going through some kind of nostalgia thing where, but let's be honest. Like, if you go back to like the late 90s, right? Wasn't the world just a better place? Now, and this is not a political thing. I'm not trying to bring politics into this. I'm just saying the world around my tomb at that time, because let's face it, my life at that point was kind of in ruin. I went through a really tough breakup, and my way of dealing with it was to pretty much sit in the dark and drink fucking Zima, and listen to like Roger Waters and Tom Waits and write god awful poetry, and that's what I was doing. That's how I handled things at that point. But despite my own personal chamber of horrors, I could still see that in our society, or the macrocosm, something was different, something was better. And again, this could be some misplaced nostalgia, but I was so young still. We were all younger, and the world felt safer. Everything seemed so much more fun. And there was an energy, right? There was a coolness. The music was better. Social connection. You actually had to go out in person to be around loved ones. The internet was supposed to bring us all closer. And in some ways, it has. All right, Facebook, I've gotten to connect with certain relatives or people I went to school with, and sometimes it's pretty cool. And I do use it for things. In fact, I'm going to post this show on Facebook, right? But ironically, personally, I believe social networking has done the opposite overall. Because we're becoming a culture of competitive, jealous, lazy, thoughtless haters. And internet trolls and cowards have taken over the world. And so many of us are on sites like Fakebook, desperately trying to show people how amazing our lives are. For most of us, it's total bullshit. There are those few of us who are doing pretty well. And they're usually the ones you never see online. Like, they'll post the occasional photo of their kids or whatever, but they're too busy actually living life in the real world, so they don't need to go on sites like Facebook like the rest of us. And I can't imagine how much depression and social anxiety have come out of these networking sites. After all, isn't Facebook keeping up with the Joneses version 2.1? Like, really? The problem with nostalgia is things probably weren't nearly as good as we choose to remember. At least in my case. And despite all the stress I struggle to cope with today, my life is pretty good now. Certainly better than it was 15, 20 years ago. Again, I have a great wife who loves me for some crazy reason. I think I'm healthy enough. The money situation sucks, but that's a topic for another show. I'm not old, but at 36, I do have the occasional panic in the middle of the night. Sometimes I think of getting old or dying, and sometimes I just freak out wondering if I'm ever going to get where I need to be. All it takes is one or two wrong turns in life to throw everything out of whack, right? Is it too late? Do we really have the power to fix things? I don't know, I've made comebacks before. In high school, I went from being a complete failure of a student. In ninth grade, I think I had like 1 credit and like a 50 average. And a semester later, somewhere in 10th grade, I guess, I turned everything around and I ended up on the dean's list or the high honor roll every semester and graduated on time. And I'd like to believe that we create our own reality each day, that the scene in front of us is a perfect projection of what's inside. Who knows? Maybe life is as virtual as the internet we have become dependent on. Makes sense. Well, at least until you touch a hot stove. Anyway, that was my rant for the week. I'll shut up now and play some music. Hope you enjoy. Man, Black Sabbath never gets old. Wheels of Confusion makes a lot of sense. Since this is the inaugural Rocco Rants radio podcast, I guess it's appropriate that I play one of our songs that we did, Christina and I, as the Roccos. Don't worry, I'm not going to make a habit out of this, but because it's the first episode, I probably should do this. This one's on our new album, which is entitled Oil and Clay, and the song is called Die for Tomorrow. That bitch can sing. There's actually a good story behind that. Christina and I were doing a gig once locally, and in between one of the songs, I guess some drunk at the bar decided to go, "Play some Billy Joel, you bitch." And we didn't notice that he said that until later on when we were editing the video footage. So I'm going, oh my God, I'm her husband. How am I supposed to do this with her? But we do it. As far as the music, I haven't really come up with an actual theme yet for the show as far as genre. Not sure if I should, just play whatever the hell I want, whether you like it or not. or if I should just stick to something in specific. I'm probably gonna just keep it more rockin' and have more metal stuff, and probably play a lot of a little more underground or music that you might not be aware of. So maybe I'll try that and see how it goes. But you can always give me suggestions, and if you are a musician or if you know musicians, definitely send your music my way and I'll play it. In the meantime, this is Windhand with Winter Sun. Okay, love you. Bye. that's our show for the week. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, definitely check me out next week and help spread the word. And in the wise words of my late great uncle, if you can't beat 'em, fuck 'em.